feeling so good from the inside out, better than your morning would feel without. Stretching our self-awareness like a muscle every morning, every weekday morning. Feeling better objectively. How's that even possible? With the help of your Only No Nonsense podcast, brought to you through the Best Feeling Network, and with the help of your own body, baby, from the inside out. If you would say it with me, even if it's just in your head, the weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the... Yes. Even if it's just in your head today with me, please allow all of these words to go in one ear and out the other as we are using our sense of the world to make sense of the world. As we are waking the worlds up physically, mentally, spiritually, and then physically again. World peace through individual inner peace and strength. Your only podcast in 3D. Welcome back. My name is Herbie. Good morning, and this is absolutely Palgo On. Today, we are approaching another Freedom Friday. It is another Freedom Friday. It is another Freedom Friday today. It is Friday, October 1st, 2021. The beginning of October, the 10th month in the 2021st year of this era that we're living in. All right, 5:36 a.m. Good morning, everybody. Are you ready to stretch your self-awareness like a muscle for about an hour or so? Not really doing much, just using our self-awareness to move around a little bit. Do some body magic tricks to feel so good from the inside out. Are you ready to hold the controller properly? In this world that we live in this reality of ours, in this simulation of ours in which you die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with every breath you take. Are you ready to hold that controller properly? What do you mean by hold the controller properly? As in, if we try to calibrate our awareness, if you would pretend with me that there's a candle in front of your lips. If you would pretend with me that part of the human design is that in their awareness, they place a candle, like a birthday candle, a celebrative candle, about 1 to 2 inches in front of the lips. And that candle, in the design of every human being, right, as we are all holding our controller properly, putting our awareness on the same thing so that our bodies calibrate together and breathe together. We are putting our awareness on the part of the human design that remembers that every human being, as you perceive them in your mind's eye or in your imagination or in your vision, exists a candle lit in front of their lips, that person, that individual, maybe you if you're thinking about yourself, the candle's in front of your lips and everybody's lips that we are each trying to not put out our own. And as we are perceiving everyone by their design and not just by their visual appearance in our eyeballs, but by their design, we are remembering that not only is there a candle just flickering in front of their lips as they're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling, or you are not thinking about exhaling or inhaling as you perceive this candle in front of the lips. We are also remembering that an essential part of the human design is that the tip of our tongues, each of us, the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. No matter what we are doing, whether we are speaking, whether we are climbing, whether we are running, whether we are diving or swimming underwater, whether we are walking backwards, forward, whether we are lying down or sitting up or standing up straight or hunched over, the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. For every human being, and don't just take my word for it ever on this show, for anything, how does that feel for you? How does that feel for you to pretend that there's a candle in front of not just your lips, but definitely your lips, that you're trying to not put out, and in front of everyone's lips that they're each trying to not put out? And by nature, remembering that the tip of our tongues always want to be anchored to the back, the bottom, front teeth, every human being, and how does that feel for you? Also remembering the back 1/3 of our tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down. If you would, please say it with me, even if it's just in your head only. The back of our tongues are up and down, up and down, up and down. The back 1/3 of your tongue, if you would, say it with me, even if it's just in your head, is vertical. Up and down, up and down. Say it with me. Up and down, up and down. The back 1/3 of your tongue, if you would, just say it with me, is vertical. Up and down, up and down. Say it with me. Up and down, up and down. While the tip of your tongues and all of our tongues want to be, say it with me, anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Again, that is the tip of our tongues. The tip of your tongue wants to, say it with me, be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And how does that feel for you? As we are breathing together, holding our controller properly in this virtual reality we seem to be living in, this simulation that we seem to be living in which we die, disconnect, we die every 5 minutes. But that timer is reset with every breath you take. As we are holding our controller properly, calibrating together in this simulation by not simply asking us to breathe together and when to breathe, but not just how to breathe, as everyone will tell you how to breathe. Well, you breathe in and then you breathe out. How do you breathe? From your diaphragm. Okay, where's your diaphragm? Everyone points to a different area. Where's your shoulder? Everyone points to a different area. But as we're calibrating our controller properly here today, our body does all of the 3D work should we just place our awareness on the proper things together, such as the tip of our tongues wanting to be what? Anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. All together now, as we do. So I want to thank you for filing in. I want to thank you for taking your seat. I want to thank you for being so courteous to one another. I want to thank you for coming through. Welcome. Good morning. How are you? On this first podcast in 3D, stretching our self-awareness like a muscle. How are you? Where are you? What you up to? Are you getting ready for work out there? Are you just putting on some new clothes? Are these clothes are these the clothes you're wearing from yesterday? Did you prepare these clothes? Did you feel prepared for the day, or did it feel like it hit you unexpectedly? How are you today? As we are remembering that there's a candle in front of not just our lips, but everybody's lips that we are each trying to not put out, where are you right now? Are you outside or are you inside? Thank you for coming through to the best feeling podcast and the best breathing podcast you've ever seen, the most actionable breathing podcast you've ever seen. Today we're going to be talking about faith. Faith in this sky god thing, this sky wrath god shooting thunderbolts at us that might smote us. Or rather, the faith that when you place the tip of the tongue, and remember that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. As in, did we always know about that? And did we always know about its effects that it may possibly have on clearing the breathing channel in our body? Did we know? Will you ever know for sure, seeing as it only wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, but the tip of the tongue is free to move wherever it wants to go? Since it's free to go wherever it wants to go, do we ever truly know that when it wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, that it will for sure give us that feeling that we would like for opening the breathing channel which exists in front of the swallowing pipe and not behind it? As we open up that pipe by remembering the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, did we always know that? And did we always know this relationship with that and its ability to open the wind pipe, the air channel? Or is there a little bit of faith involved? A faith built by what? Maybe a relationship. How do you know with your eyes closed or when you're looking at your phone that when you're walking, how do you know that your footsteps will land on the ground and you can continue walking as you stare at your phone, as you look at your watch, as you look up at the sky? How do you know for sure? How can you continue walking? How does your body continue walking on the road when it's no longer looking at the road, but looking at your cell phone, looking up at the sky? How can it continue walking when it does not know what is coming before it takes its step? Does it have faith? Do we actually require faith in everything we do in order for us to completely successfully commit to doing that thing which results for us to get the result that we want, the reward that we want? Do we actually operate on faith daily in a way that we are unaware of? How could we be unaware of? How can we be unable to see ourselves? Possibly anytime something makes you stop thinking about remembering that there's a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. Don't we blind ourselves to ourselves when we are in pain? And are we in pain whenever we cannot breathe, for we need to breathe before we need to eat? Please pretend with me that there's a candle in front of your lips that we are trying to not put out. No matter where you are, remember that the tip of every human being's tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And while the back 1/3 of their tongues are also vertical, up and down, up and down. Don't take my word for it. See how it feels for you. We'll be right back to talk about this faith thing. How did you get out of bed to touch the floor? Maybe a little bit of faith. We'll be right back. On, pal, go on. Ew. Did we maybe turn the back on faith too early? Did we maybe assume we thought we knew what we were talking about faith, went off of that new definition in which we made, and then cast it away, thinking that we could never receive or understand this faith thing? Do we actually operate on faith constantly? And why would we want to identify what tools we are using to navigate throughout life in the way that we do? But we're all trying to feel the best that we possibly can in our lifetimes, whether that be physically, mentally, or spiritually, or emotionally. So finding the deeper tool at hand may help us apply those different skills to more things in life, to more events, to more relationships in life, for us to receive more of what we want in life, whether that be emotional, mental, physical, financial success. In anything you want. Why do we look for the deeper tools in what we are using so we can apply it to more things in life, so that we can sit back with our hands behind our heads and relax more and watch things just roll in, instead of having to pay such meticulous attention to everything? So is it possible that the main tool we've been using this entire time has always been faith? Is it possible that we threw the baby out with the bathwater when we saw, hey, there's no floating sky god, there's no floating man in the sky naked or with a toga who's going to smite me? Maybe all of it is crazy. Or do we actually operate on faith, and we've always been projecting what we thought about our faith from the inside to the outside, and thought this whole religion stuff and outside was actually the real deal, when it actually was coming from the inside? As we are always operating on faith. Is that possible? Whatever we are doing, whether we are pouring coffee into that mug this morning, whether you're hanging out with a friends, probably just having us in your AirPods, or whether you are typing away at a computer right now, or whether you are brushing your hair right now, looking at yourself. Do we not operate on faith constantly when we wake up this morning? How do we get up and put our feet on the floor when we rub our eyeballs, when we are waking ourselves up? How are we walking with our eyes closed like a zombie over to the bathroom? Your body operates on faith, closing its eyes, moving on a ground it assumes to be there. How does it know that it assumes to be there? Relationship that's been built over time. How's your body feeling right now? Do we know for certain that holding the controller properly will always grant us something pleasurable? Or is the unexpected nature part of what makes it pleasurable? Is there some part of the human experience that cannot be drawn out 100% without doing things on faith? Perhaps not just trusting something beyond itself, but also hoping for something beyond what it cannot see. Is faith something that drives humans to be everything they can be? Is there a desire to do the impossible, with which would also needs to lay complete faith on, such that from our point of view it would look impossible? Is there something about the human spirit that reaches for the impossible, which would imply putting faith on something larger than thee, otherwise it would not feel impossible? Is there something about reaching for that impossible? Is there something about having that faith and being taken to that impossible that drives the human spirit? Pretending there's a candle in front of your lips that you are trying to not put out, as it just flickers there. And you're not thinking about exhaling, you're not thinking about inhaling, you're just allowing this candle to flicker there in front of your lips. You're not trying to put it out. And as we are growing this relationship with ourselves, we're also remembering that the tip of our tongues and everybody's tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth while this candle is not being put out. And how does that feel for you? It just wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, the tip of the tongue. And the back 1/3 of the tongue wants to be vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. And in this new position, does it maybe feel the tongue is now in a new neutral position? So from in this position now, what does it feel like to pretend there's a candle in front of your lips now that you're trying to not put out? You're not trying to exhale or inhale in this new position, but as this candle flickers there, you're not trying to put it out. And just observe your sense of self. As we are remembering also that the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And the back 1/3 of the tongue in this position now wants to be vertical as well. Up and down, say it with me, even if it's just in your head, up and down, back of the 1/3 tongue is vertical. Up and down, up and down. Up and down, up and down. One more time, say it with me. Up and down, up and down. Up and down, up and down. Do we know for sure that recalibrating to that awareness every time will ensure us? Do we know before it happens that it will for sure grant us a feeling that we will want to return to? No. As in every new position, the relationship between all of those points, the tip of the tongue, the back of the bottom front teeth, the candle, are all relative to this new position that you feel like going into, feel possibly giving yourself permission to be in, new permission to be in this new position. All of these new points have shifted a little bit every time, right? There's a new relationship between all of them every time a little bit. As your posture, even as your alignment in your body either improves or suffers, or as you rebalance for imbalances, your body has always a new relationship with itself, even physically, even spatially, right? As we're remembering, the tip of our tongues wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And if you would with me pretend that there's a candle, I invite you to join me in pretending that there is a candle in front of your own lips that you're trying to not put out, like a birthday candle. As you're remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongues are vertical, and the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. On this Freedom Friday, no matter where you are, you're always in that body of yours. Please allow these words to go in one ear and out the other, and allow me to blend into the background, the symphony that is your life right now. Do we know for sure that this awareness will allow our bodies to align and feel a way that makes us want to return? No. Maybe we don't know for sure. But over time, do we not grow our faith in it? How does our faith in it grow? Other than a relationship with it, a consistent and reliable relationship with our ability to regulate the body and flush out uncertain internal suffering. Certain internal suffering, rather, as we will certainly have internal suffering. Growing our faith by growing our relationship with our ability to flush out this certain internal suffering. Have we always been operating on faith, as in, have we always been creating relationships that allow us to push ourselves to unmeasured futures, allows us to push ourselves beyond our limits due to our relationship that we build with things, due to our faith that we build all the time? Maybe it's not such a silly word. Be right back, right after this break, here on Pal Go On. If you would, I invite you to pretend there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. We'll be right back. I want you to kick butt today. I want you to be pushed beyond your limits today and be happy about it. I want you to do awesome today, whatever it is that you are doing, whatever your goal is today, whether that be at your career, whether that be in your emotional life, whether that be in your personal life, whether that be in your spiritual life, whether that be in your gaming life, whether that be in your podcast life, whether that be in your wife life, whether that be in your husband life. I want you to be doing great and amazing today. I want to supercharge your morning today. I want you to do all the great things that you know that you can. I want you to be free today on Freedom Friday. It is 6:03 a.m. on October 1st, 2021. Friday, October 1st, 2021. Welcome back to the second half of the show. My name is Herbie. I'm your host. And this is Pal Go On. Stretching our self-awareness like a muscle and feeling so rewarded for it. Are you placing the front of your shins into your awareness and remembering that your weight is not delivered down the back, those fleshy calves, those fleshy, impressive calves that you have? But are you remembering to place the weight down the front of your shins, as your body loves to feel? You amazing window to this godlike experience that you are. I want you to do amazing today. I want you to feel unbarred. I want you to feel untied down by your own body's inability to act. How, Herbie? Well, I invite you to pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips. I invite you to join me in calibrating ourselves, our bodies, to this virtual reality that we live in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath that we take. I invite you, I challenge you to pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips. in every human being's lips, just like yours. And we're each trying to not put it out. And it's just flickering there in front of our lips, and it's just flickering, and we're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling, and I challenge you to not put that candle out. I challenge you to remember that everyone is trying to not put that candle out as it just flickers. The tip of their tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front of their teeth, and they're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling. It's just flickering in front of their lips. As we are remembering that the back 1/3 of everyone's tongues are vertical, up and down, up and down. Say it with me. Even if it's just in your head. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Again, that is the back 1/3 of our tongues are vertical. Say it with me. Up and down, up and down. Up and down, up and down. Always keeping the candle in everyone's awareness as if it is a controller they hold in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. There is a candle in front of everyone's lips. It's just flickering there. And they're trying to not put it out. And their body and mind aligns and rewards them for it, as you know. As we are feeling so good, feeling better in our bodies objectively, how is that even possible? By using our self-awareness here and there, not really doing much. Where art thou right now? Welcome back to the second half of the show. Where art thou right now? Are you looking outside? Are you looking at the window pane? Are you looking down at the ground? Are you doing some work right now? I want to thank you whether you are coming in from DLive, Twitch, or YouTube. Whether you have been linked in from Discord, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or just telecommunicatively, because we are just that amazing, right? Thank you, come in. Have a seat, or sit down, stand up, or walk. And I invite you to allow your body to give itself permission to remember that the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down. And remember that if any case of uncomfortability, we can always return to another neutral position which feels more comfortable at any point in time. Are the fronts of your shins in your awareness? Are the front of our shins in our awareness today? Allowing our body, allowing our legs to do a lot more of the thinking, a lot of the legs to do a lot more of the moving. Oftentimes we allow our top half of the body to feel separated from the bottom half of the body. They are separate in our mind's internal awareness, as in the bottom half of we got disconnected. Hello and welcome back. We sometimes feel that the top half and the bottom half of the bodies can be disconnected. As in, we can be walking while also simultaneously flipping through our phone. And we operate on faith because the feet are walking on the ground, and we operate on faith as We're not necessarily looking at the ground, are we? But we're looking at this phone, but we are still able to maintain the bottom half of the body doing a different type of work than the top half of the body, and it operates on faith. Now, it's obviously no surprise to anybody at this point now that the top half of the body and the bottom half of our bodies are separate in the internal awareness of ourselves. As in, when we are walking with our legs, we're able to be doing something totally different with our arms. As we know, they are separated and feel good when separated, hence the feeling the front of the shins, while remembering the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Bottom half of the body starting at the hip joints, and the top half of the body being like separate entities. Do we not operate a little bit on faith when operating these two separate entities, separate but also together, as we are this body that cannot be separated, obviously, right? Unless you are some kind of magician act. Our body is this one object that is moving around, yet our internal representation of ourselves is that the lower half of our body is a different entity than the top half of the body. Same way that the front half of the tongue is associated with a conscious part of your body, conscious part of your brain, and the back half of the tongue is associated with the unconscious part of the body, the subconscious part of the brain. In a similar fashion, the bottom half of the body related to the unconscious, while the top half of the body related to the conscious, the forward, right at the forefront of our consciousness. We operate on faith, as in these top and the bottom half are so different, as in our consciousness and unconsciousness are so different, as in we operate on faith, as in all of these thoughts and ideas, emotions, mentalities, intuitions that happen inside of our brain. We operate on faith, do we not? As in even knowing ourselves. We cannot know any other moment but this moment. We cannot know any other time but this time. They could all be simulations. They could all be injected into our brain. Do we not operate on faith that we have experienced all these experiences that we feel? Did we not throw the baby out with the bathwater? Did we not hear the word faith and get scared or get angry or get our feathers rustled about it, thinking it had to do necessarily with some biblical testament that is being thrust upon us in language in ways that we do not agree with or do not jive with our spirit and do not help us day to day with our day-to-day suffering, for example, with our friends, family, and school? Why would we care about the word faith when we have friends, family, school, when we are walking around friends, family, school, work, when we have romantic needs, when we have companionship needs, when we have family needs, when we have school needs, ambition needs? We have all of these needs. Why would we care about faith when faith does not necessarily progress us? This quote-unquote faith doesn't progress us towards what we believe we want in life. We cast this idea of what we believed to be faith and said, okay, we don't like that idea of what we believed to be faith. But did we possibly misdefine faith from the beginning? Do we not operate on faith consistently? Is faith the problem? Is the human idea of trusting something beyond what we can see the problem? Or is possibly the problem institutions trying to tell individuals how to individualize from the outside in instead of from the inside out? Unlike here on Pow Go On with your host Herbie, reminding you that you can always, always, always pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out and not think about exhaling or inhaling. And you can always, always, always from the inside out. Remember that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And you can always, always, always from the inside out remember that part of your design is that the back 1/3 of the tongue wants to be vertical. Say it with me. Up and down, up and down. The back 1/3 of the tongue, say it with me, is vertical. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And is that not what's keeping us down on Freedom Friday? A misdefinition of faith, thinking that faith was the rules placed onto you from the outside world instead of a relationship with ourselves and our ability to make ourselves free of anything that might be holding us back. We'll be right back here on Padawan Freedom Fridays. As we reach the pinnacle of the show, it is 6:18 a.m. on your only self-awareness stretching podcast. How go on? Welcome back. As we are reaching the pinnacle of the show, the peak of the show, let's break down these misconceptions placed into us as usual. Faith here on Freedom Friday, to feel so free and to love life and never fear death in this simulation in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. We discuss fear. Wait, no, we discuss faith. Fear and faith are actually highly related, but today we are talking about faith. Faith and misconceptions placed into us by society, by the world, about faith. As in, they would have you think that faith is something you should never test. However, faith is the thing you should be testing all the time. Faith we used to think is something that we just place onto some sky god into the sky. Faith! Blindly shouting out what we want into the distance. I have faith! And then when nothing is given back to us, we lose that faith. Why? Because we used to think faith was this wish into the outside world that we just throw, just a stone that we cast away and never expect back. However, faith on Freedom Fridays, as we're breaking down misconceptions and feeling so free on Padawan, is more a relationship. Faith is more of a relationship that you build that should be tested all the time. Not maliciously, but fearlessly. Because as soon as you realize that the faith is not worth being faithful in, you then reorient towards something with more faith in it. But it's a relationship the same way you build a relationship with anything else. So such that you see the relationship not be working, you dip. That relationship is not working. How could we have any faith in anything? Well, a relationship with it. How do we run so fast in our house when we are rushing outside? When we are late for our class? When we are trying to meet up with the friends? When we are just trying to go downstairs to go to the bathroom? When we have to go upstairs, or when we have to go to the bathroom from the front door to go to the bathroom very quickly? How can we get there so quickly? How do you have faith that you are not going to run into a wall, a door? How are you going to have faith that you're going to make it to the bathroom in the time that you estimate before you pop a hole in your bladder? How do you have faith that you're going to make it? How do you know you're going to make it in such and such amount of time? How does your body prepare so that by the time you make it to the toilet, you are just there at the right amount of time every time? Do you not have a relationship with the pathway there? Does that not give you faith that you will get to the toilet when you need to get to the toilet due to this relationship that you've created? No wonder we have such a crappy idea, this word faith, when we have not have created a good relationship with anything that we associate with faith. But aren't we operating on faith daily? Isn't that how we operate? How do you know that you're going to make it to bed on time? How do you know that you're going to make it to the toilets on time for your body to relieve itself properly? Do we not create a relationship with the pathway there so that we can have faith in what our body can do? How do we know that we can continue walking down these staircases or walking this sidewalk while we're looking at our phone? Did we not create a relationship with this staircase, with this sidewalk, with the world? Did we not create a relationship with how we view flat land so that our bodies continue operating separately on faith that the lower half of your body continues walking while the top half of your body is doing something totally different, does not have faith that the bottom half of the body will continue its task properly? Do we not operate on faith daily simply by operating in this world? Do we not operate on faith simply to walk on the ground? Every time you miss a step, does that not make your heart jump because you had faith in the staircase and you made it doubt that faith? Are we not operating on faith consistently? Now, did we abandon the idea of faith in the human, in our own experience, as in our relationship with this God thing, supposedly this thing of our creator, supposedly this thing that happened before us? Do we have any relationship with the word faith that is positive? No. Why? Because we did not have a good relationship with the faith of having the relationship with the self, the design, the God thing. But if we're pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that we're trying to not put out, and we remember that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, do we know what kind of effect that will have necessarily? Is it one built out of faith? Is it one built from a relationship? As we remember that the back 1/3 of our tongues want to be vertical, up and down, up and down. We operate a lot on faith, yet describe the word of faith as something that we separate from ourselves, something that is separate. It is a celestial body. It is a god. It is a goddess, separate from human beings, yet we operate on faith daily. Our relationships with people, our relationships with ideas, places, events, memories, birthdays, holidays, our relationship towards all of these different ideas in our lives only confirmed by faith. How do we know these relationships will always stay? How do we know these relationships will remain? How do we know our relationship with the ground is the way that it is? Over time, we built a relationship with the ground, growing our faith. Did we grow a relationship with ourselves? Did we grow a relationship in the design of humans? Did we grow a relationship with ourselves and our ability to feel better against any kind of suffering. We operate daily, necessarily on faith. We operate daily and necessarily on faith, as in a relationship in which we create with everything that matters to us, except ourselves. Except ourselves, the only ones needing faith. A positive relationship with ourselves, the ability to have faith in ourselves to handle. Why? To love life, because life is scary. And if we cannot feel that we can handle, if we do not have faith in ourselves to handle, we will not go out to love all the life we can. We will love what we are forced to due to fear of not being able to overcome, due to fear of death. How do we overcome a fear of death so that we can begin loving life? Which not only brings about love, but invention, ingenuity, safety, health, technology, compromise, energy. This love for life, which can only happen from a faith in the self. And how do we have a faith in the self? Developing the relationship in the self to feel so free. As in, a bird has a relationship with flying, in that its relationship with flying is, heck yes, I can, all the time. Its relationship with flying is undoubted. And your relationship with being free should be undoubted. By creating a relationship with ourselves. Let's remember that there's a candle. Let's pretend that there's a candle. I invite you, I challenge you today, you amazing human being, you window to this godlike experience that you are. I challenge you to join me in pretending that there's a candle in front of your lips, and my lips, and everybody's lips. And we're each trying to not put that out. And we're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling, we're just remembering that the tip of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth as this candle flickers in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. And each of us remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongue are vertical, up and down, up and down. We want to be vertical, up and down. Are you feeling the front of your shin? Are you remembering you do not sit on your legs? And say it with me, the weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you so much for joining me and pretending there's a candle in front of everyone's lips that they're trying to not put out. I want to thank you for remembering the structure, function, and shape and size of your tongue. The back 1/3 of the tongue being vertical, the tip of the tongue wanting to be anchored to the back of the teeth. I want to thank you so much for all the love and support. Always pushing forward with this. Thank you so much. It is 6:29 a.m. on October 1st, 2021. It is Friday, a Freedom Friday. I want to thank you so much for coming through, whether you be from D Live, or whether you are on D Live, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube. I want to thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much, whether you came from TikTok, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, word of mouth, internet, ethernet, dial up. However you got here, I want to thank you so much for coming through. Any of the comments or any of the comments or reposts or shares, likes, and subscribes are always appreciated and will be addressed in the beginning or at the end of the shows. Shout out to Felipe Mullen for reminding us to always place the front of your shins into our awareness. I believe that is what he's trying to say. Thank you so much for that. Shout out to Eric Maine for all the support always. Good morning. And shout out to Danny and Herschel and anybody else out there who's always giving your love and support. If we didn't get to you this time, we'll get to you next time. I hope you are having a great day out there. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe out there, guys. There's a lot of craziness going on. In a godless world, as in no faith of the human self and the ability to overcome from the inside and not needing approval of others, you know? We are strong from within. And that gets you the approval that you want. Sometimes you gotta ruffle a few feathers. Sometimes you gotta disagree with the parents for them to respect you. For them to understand that you'll be okay on your own. Because they love you too. And we love you too. And we appreciate all the love. Thank you, thank you. Please take care of yourself out there. Remember that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Remember that the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical. Keep those candles in your awareness. Have a fantastic day out there, guys. Feeling so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would feel without. My name is Herbie. Good morning, everyone. This has been Absolutely Padawan. See you next time on Monday, October 3rd. Please like, share, and subscribe. That would really help us out. No, we really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe to all the friends. Let's get the word out there. Padawan 5 ever. We love you guys. Feel the funny reasons. We'll see you next time.
I don't know how to cope at all. My sister said that she hates me and why I had to leave. Tears rolled down her face, falling like autumn leaves. Me and my mother still dodging each other. We'll never swallow our pride, so we hide from each other. Yo, that's the cards that I've been dealt, like I'm locked in a cell. Got dreams of touching the sky, pray one day I propel. This life ain't for me, dodging this arm and this cheek. Demons be climbing on me, that's why it get harder to breathe. Like one day I'ma be overdosing on something potent. Pray I meet Mac and join him swimming in the ocean. So, let the dice fall, sip a pint tall, catch a demon slipping, and I'll break their glass jaw. Yeah, trapped in darkness but still surviving. People come and go, I've learned to adapt to the climate. Yeah, it's all good.